Hunter Biden is subpoenaing Donald Trump. They say that they need documents from Trump, and apparently he's got some information about how corrupt the DOJ is, the same DOJ that we call corrupt, for not prosecuting him for having people like Leslie Wolf warn his lawyers about raids on his storage facilities and so on. No, he says the Trump DOJ was corrupt, and now he wants documents. He sent a request for a subpoena in, asking the Delaware judge to order Trump to comply. And I'm thinking to myself, okay, you want Donald Trump to show up and tell the court everything he knows about Hunter? Okay. Can he have some of his boxes back that his daddy raided from Mar-a-Lago? I don't know. But this is what Hunter is requesting. And this came from his lawyer, Abbe Lowell. And here's what it looks like. Not a super long filing, 16 pages. And Abbe's a competent lawyer. No doubt about that, right? He's very aggressive. But I don't know if they're maybe biting off a little bit more they can chew here, because what if Trump says yes? What if they just come in and say, we've got a lot to share with you, and we're excited to do that? So here is what Hunter's defense says. And to get our bearing straight, this is Hunter being prosecuted. This is the United States of America versus Hunter in these, so-called prosecutions for gun and tax charges. It's in the District of Delaware, and this is in front of the same judge that we've been following, who did not allow the DOJ to get away with their scam plea deal. But this is Mr. Biden's motion for an issuance of a subpoena for documents and a memo in support. They say, Your Honor, Hunty is here, and through his lawyer, we move this court to enter an order for a subpoena ducis tecum that be issued for the following individuals. Guess who? Hunter wants subpoenas for Donald Trump, who they call Mr. Trump, very rude, it's President Trump, jerks. William Barr, former AG, Richard Donahue, and Jeffrey A. Rosen. They say, pursuant to the rules of federal criminal procedure, they say, we need these subpoenas, Your Honor, so that Hunter has sufficient time to review the materials in advance of trial. The grounds why we need these things are included in this document. Now, they say, hey, Your Honor, law enforcement agents have testified that the federal investigation of Hunty, led by the U.S. Attorney's Office in Delaware, began in late 2018 under President Trump. That wide-ranging investigation has spanned more than 2 administrations, lasted more than 5 years, and is ongoing. Now, that probe, investigating years of Mr. Biden's tax affairs, as well as events surrounding his purchase of a firearm that was recovered 11 days later, made up the basis of these claims. The culmination of this 5-year inquiry was prosecutors and Mr. Biden agreeing that he would plead guilty to 2 failure to file misdemeanor charges and take a diversion deal to resolve the firearm claim. Now, the prosecution, they say, unilaterally reneged on it. That's when the judge busted you guys. Now, the collapse of the agreement and the prosecution's change of heart eventually led to a new indictment against Hunter that's currently before the court. But they say the initial investigation was born out of a wider probe into Hunter and his taxes and foreign business dealings. Now, additionally, it's been reported and revealed in the now public IRS investigative files concerning this case that was released by the House Ways and Means Committee and by the DOJ that Bill Barr opened a dedicated channel in Pittsburgh to receive information about Hunty coming from Trump's attorney called Rudy. Now, that effort to review and vet any material was coordinated by Richard Donahue, a U.S. attorney from the Eastern District of New York, and Scott Brady in Pittsburgh. When Mr. Donahue was elevated to serve as the principal AG at the DOJ in 2020, the IRS files reveal that he further coordinated with Pittsburgh and with the prosecution team in Delaware, including issuing certain guidance about the overt steps in the investigation. So they're rewinding the clock, right? All of this cover-up. There was a lot of cover-up, by the way, in 2020. I mean, Leslie Wolf and all of these people were actively, there. So as Deputy Attorney General, Mr. Rosen interacted with teams investigating Mr. Biden both in Pittsburgh and Delaware. And in the lead up to the 2020 election, IRS case files show certain investigative decisions were made as a result of guidance provided by the AG's office, Deputy Attorney General's office. Now, testimony and other investigative files provided by the IRS agent Gary Shapley, the IRS whistleblower who we've talked a lot about here, also reveal that around 2020, all aspects of the investigation needed to be vetted by David Weiss and Donahue. So in addition, public reporting reveals certain instances that appear to suggest incessant, improper, and partisan pressure applied by Trump, by then President Trump, to these people to investigate Hunter. They say, for example, on December 27th, Deputy General Donahue took handwritten notes of a call with Trump and Acting Attorney General Rosen, showing that Mr. Trump instructed Mr. Rosen and Mr. Donahue to figure out what to do with Hunter Biden, and indicating that Trump insisted that people will criticize the DOJ if he's not investigated for real. The notes were released by the House Oversight Committee as part of their J6 investigation. Now, additionally, they never really investigated him, as we know. Now, additionally, former Attorney General Barr's latest book recalls an instance in mid-2020 which President Trump called Mr. Barr and inquired about the investigation investigation into Hunter. And Barr said, "Dang it, Mr. President, I'm not going to talk to you about Hunter, period," is what Barr wrote in his book. So these confirmations of communications give more than a mere appearance that Trump improperly and unrelentingly pressured the DOJ to prosecute Hunty. And for his part, Trump has made a plethora of concerning public statements calling for an investigation into Hunty while in office and not. They said here, the former president has also incessantly called for law enforcement, the media, and the public to go after Hunter. He tweeted the following on his X account. And all of these are from the time that he was in office, right? So this would be November 15th, he mentioned Hunter. December 12th, he mentioned Hunter, 2020. December 12th, he mentioned Hunter and Biden and Joe. Said Barr's not doing anything. Barr will do nothing. A new group of people are coming in. Same thing with Durham. We caught him cold. Trump also tweeted December 17, 2020. I have nothing to do with the potential prosecution of Hunter or the Biden family. It's just more fake news. So he said, I have nothing to do with it. Wow. The corrupt Biden DOJ he posted June 2023 just cleared hundreds of years, this is on Truth Social, of criminal liability by giving Hunter a mere traffic ticket. Our system is broken. Okay, so this first batch, these first 4 are from when Trump was actually president, and then it shifts over to more recently. And again, like he has no pressure now, right? He can't order anybody to do anything. So the call for Mr. Biden to receive a certain penalty and other incendiary comments are what Trump said. And so these statements necessitate ample justification for personal records. They say, as the post detail above, there has been a sustained, almost nonstop public pressure campaign by Trump to go after Biden, first made public in June. After Biden agreed to plead guilty to resolve these 2 charges, Mr. Trump blasted the agreement as a sweetheart deal. Ron Johnson said it was a light slap on the wrist. Rick Scott called it a mockery of our legal system. James Comer called it a sweetheart plea deal. And so upon the news of the parties' agreement, Republican allies cheered when it didn't happen. They said it was great that the deal got killed. This is justice being served. And from that point forward, Republicans are pushing for more severe charges against Mr. Biden in an effort to make him an election issue. And that outside pressure culminated in Special Counsel Weiss's then changing course and bringing this indictment, now charging him with 3 felonies. So Hunter is the victim of political prosecutions. And Republicans say this is not enough. The very same day, Comer said mountains of evidence reveal that Hunter likely committed several felonies and Americans should apply and expect the DOJ to apply the law evenly, saying that everybody was involved in much more fraud and more serious crimes. They say it's clear that no measure of the charges against Mr. Biden will ever be enough to appease Comer and Smith and their MAGA allies. And as anyone can tell, it's not just pressure from the Trump executive, it's also outside pressure from congressional Republicans. And so, consequently, they say, Your Honor, Mr. Hunty now moves this court to issue 4 subpoenas directing Trump, Barr, Donahue, and Rosen to give us the following documents. Now, I'm curious what these are. Everything from January 20th to 2017 to the present. A lot of documents. And I'm curious if Trump is going to be, excited to deliver these. I mean, he probably has a lot of information, but they stole all of his boxes from him. Now, all documents they want and records reflecting communications between the subpoena recipient related to Hunter, all documents from DOJ officials. He's not in there, right? Like, he doesn't have control of these anymore. So, like, he probably needs to go to the National Archives to get these. All personal records, diaries, journals, memoirs, memoranda, notes concerning Hunter Biden, but not limited to any formal decisions to prosecute Hunter, so all of Trump's notes. Any documents produced to the January 6th committee as well. They say all this information would be admissible, and to date, the defense has not gotten any of this information from the DOJ. Now, the curious thing about this, right, is what is the DOJ going to do? Like, they might want Trump's journals and memoirs. Like, they might want Trump, okay, sure, get a subpoena, go get it all. And like Hunter, the people responding to Hunter are his dad's DOJ people. So you can see why this is a little bit strange. Now, they say, nevertheless, this information is essential to Hunter's defense. Before the government intones its stock phrase, this is no fishing expedition. The statements described in this motion actually occurred, and the events actually transpired. And Mr. Biden actually seeks the information from 3 former DOJ officials and the former president. It's the heart of his defense. And each of these DOJ officials had known contacts with President Trump about Biden, and so it's still ongoing. And these handwritten notes show that this stuff does exist. And so here is the standards for the subpoena. They articulate what the rules are. They say here, each bit of information that we seek is very relevant, and it impacts the fundamental aspects of fairness. Subpoenaing Trump. Trump knows full well that improper pressure on prosecutors to bring criminal charges for political reasons is grounds to dismiss an indictment. And so here, a subpoena recipient for Barr is also justified. They tell us that our requests are only seeking communications and records that are within the scope. From a Fifth Amendment perspective, it's essential for Hunter Hunter to know whether anyone has improperly discussed or encouraged or endorsed or requested any prosecution of him. No information would demonstrate that fact. And so here's my point. Like, if they grant this for Hunter, are they going to grant this for Trump? Like, okay, here's the problem, guys. If the court says, sure, you can have all of Trump's DOJ memos about prosecuting you, can Trump say then, I would also like all of the DOJ memos about prosecuting Trump? Like, can he get Biden's notes? Can he get all of those things about all of the conversations with Merrick Garland and Jack Smith and all these other people? Like, does the standard apply? Is this the new standard? Because I think Trump might like this standard. Now, this is especially true in light of the fact that no new evidence has emerged. They say the prosecution's change of heart now only appears to be political pressure. Well, that's because they got caught, yeah. And not anything new that was discovered. They say information that we're seeking is all admissible. It would be material to Hunter Biden's defense. And it's very specific, right? It's not a fishing expedition. We only seek personal records reflecting stuff that's related to the issue of putting undue pressure on government officials. It's only seeking information from relevant officials, former DOJ officials, and it's limited in time. So Biden seeks specific information from these people. We need to know if this is vindictive or selective prosecution. And we need to know from these known contacts. So for the foregoing reasons, Mr. Hunty respectfully requests the court enter an order pursuant to our subpoena, to our request, issuing a subpoena that would allow Mr. Biden to go and get these documents. He needs time to do it, and it's all valid under the rules. Signed, sincerely, Abbe David Lowell, Hunter's attorney. And it's a good filing, right? I think this is something that you would be filing if you had the DOJ on your side and you had your daddy who was running them, and you were a little, he had some serious bravado, and you wanted to potentially open up a can of worms. Maybe that will happen or not. Or maybe the DOJ will agree with them and say, sure, yeah, grant Hunter whatever he wants, Your Honor. No objection. We're going to see what the DOJ does on this, because they got caught with their hand in the cookie jar. They tried to cram this ridiculous plea deal through, and they got busted. And now they're having to put on this show like they're actually charging Hunter with actual crimes. And now Hunter is escalating this. Okay, he's saying, I'm entitled to this. The DOJ is going to have to fight it. And they cannot be happy with him about this. So it's going to be very fun to watch what their response is. They're kind of caught between a rock and a hard place because they tried to give him an out and the whole thing got botched. And so now they're faking like they're actual prosecutors, and nobody really believes them. But that was the request for the subpoena. This is what it would look like if the judge signed off on it, which we have not seen it signed. It's just a form, but they filled it out for us. They said if the judge signs it, it would go to Donald John Trump. And they said here that you would have to comply with attachment A, which of course are all the documents that we just read through or just discussed. And so this is what it looks like. If the judge signs it, these would be the instructions that would show up. These would be the documents, everything from the relevant time period about the decision to investigate or to charge Hunter. And so we'll see what the judge does about it. I'm also very curious to see what the DOJ says about this, whether they just, rubber stamp it. We love Hunter. In fact, his dad is our boss. So we'll be covering it, my friends, the Hunter sagas, the Trump involvement, and more. Thank you for joining us as we do. We'd very much appreciate you subscribing and sharing this video and this channel with a friend or family member so they can join us as we unpack all of these court documents and more. And we'll be looking forward to seeing you on the next one.